All right, we're back, and some bro love going on, I guess, to start off.
Bro, love.
I didn't see what was his portrait. I didn't see what it was.
Tracer.
Nice. All right, well, it is a best of 5. This one is worth a little bit more money than the last. It's going to have a $200, or sorry, excuse me, yeah, $200 value to it, as the winner of this will go on to fight against Bales. So again, at this point, he's won $250. He cannot walk away with any less than that. In the bottom right side of Frozen Temple, we've got the blue Protoss Ting's Neeb.
In the upper left, as the red Terran, it's Flipside Tactics Drunkenboi.
So I love that we got a full variety on this. Like, part of me, I'm not going to lie, I was worried Neeb might lose against Scarlet or Huck or something early, but we've now seen Neeb versus Zerg, Neeb versus Protoss, and now we get to see Neeb versus Terran. And we did, I know you didn't get to see it, but Fear Dragon and I and some of the fans got to watch these two actually play against each other recently. Now, it's worth noting Neeb did win over there in the past, so, I mean, there's a little bit of favoritism. But what's kind of cool is Drunkenboi put up a really good fight. He did a lot of really aggressive all-in builds as a Terran player. Like, explicitly sticking on those 2 base, lift your command center to the 3rd type of thing. So I'm excited to see how he handles Neeb here, and if it's going to be that same type of aggression.
So I didn't get to see it, but from your description, I think it all makes sense. Drunkenboi and aggressive do go like hand in hand when it comes to identifying him in my mind, so makes sense.
Yeah.
But Neeb, as I said, I guess this is a really nice way to set it up. You know, I get the Zerg, Protoss, and then Terran. He's on a roll, and I mean, a change in the matchup can certainly change your momentum. But I don't even know about that. Like, Neeb has had some pretty fantastic versus Terran beforehand. As you said, he actually did end up winning against Drunkenboi, so a bit of, you know, story in that. And maybe Drunkenboi learned from that, knows Neeb's style a little bit more, and will be more prepared, or maybe it'll go even worse.
Yeah, no, we always try to look at the positive, but the reality is sometimes it can go worse. Now, I actually, again, a bit of a sellout shout out, guys. We're not being paid anything for this, by the way. We're like entirely doing this because we just wanted to do some awesome StarCraft content. But thanks to those who signed up for the Ting Open Season 1. Like, this tournament is made possible thanks to like the overflow we made from it. Like, again, we wanted 40 signups. We got something like 60. So I love that Ting's willing to do more stuff with us. So just know that if you guys are like on the fence about swapping to Ting, if Jesse's in chat, you can ask him any questions. He'll answer them truthfully and honestly, which is awesome. But also, you can type in !Ting. It'll take you to the link for the website where you can sign up and get $25 off your purchase of setting up with them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. That was odd. It looked like the Reaper bugged out in that cliff. Just kind of funny. But eventually gets to where it wants, and that's scouting Neeb's main base. A little bit of SimCity is actually going to cause it to die.
Rip.
A little unfortunate. But it did end up scouting the most important things, I would say. So a Robo is not that surprising to see, obviously. And a Warp Prism is not too big of a leap to take from there. But if you're going to see, like, the pylon off to the left and nothing else because you went in too early, that's always a little disturbing. Like, you put it on 6 gateways, a Stargates, or only 2. So being able to actually see only these 2 is actually, like, it's not nearly as concerning. And Drunkenboi should be pretty confident in a solid defense, you know, not over-defend, basically.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we've actually been seeing consistently, and I've been noting this, like, more scans because of the poor scouting that goes on early. And it's never fun having to not mule early on. Now, as this does kick off, one of the things I'm wondering here for Neeb is, like, how dedicated is this going to be? You can actually do just, like, minor Warp Prism harass. Drunkenboi did go for 3 barracks, so he's got a lot of Marines to work with. I don't actually think an Adept attack straight up will work, because unlike Days of the Past, it takes 3 shots to kill a Marine, not 2.
Yeah, it's no longer easy peasy, but it's also like a case where it is only 3 gateways. It wasn't the 5 or 6, and Drunkenboi, he didn't get a full scout on the base, but he got enough of one, I think, to feel confident enough to, you know, only have a bunker on the low ground, for instance. Walling off is still totally worthwhile, and I'm glad that he does, but even if he didn't, that's a lot of Marines, and he should have still been fine. Actually, yeah, Tango's with them, of course. Warp Prism Micro is, you know, a little nice. It's nice to see.
It's easier to pull off with melee units attacking than ranged units.
Yeah, it's cute, but it was dangerous because, of course, the Marines, I mean, hell, if they had gotten Stim, they might have been able to pounce on top of it. And actually, pounce on top of that Observer, denied.
That was a wonderful scan.
Yeah. I mean, for what you saw, the amount of Marines, I think that Neeb has a good idea as to what the build was. You know, like not a quick third CC behind that as well. So, I mean, expect some medevac drops, but what is new, really? Only a few Terrans are going for that fast third CC.
Oh!
Oh, wrecked.
Well, we said he
That's
might be
bad.
getting worn out. It's the first real mistake we've seen out of Neeb in 2 best of 5s, 3 now, and that's going to be very unfortunate. Not only did it lose the adapts, but the War Prism is continued harassment, continued pressure, continued to keep Drunkenboi at home.
Yeah. It's a pretty big deal to lose a Warp Prism like that. I mean, 200 minerals is not so difficult to replace, but you're using the Robo or something else right now. You, of course, have to replace the units that were inside the Warp Prism, and you got better things to do, you know? You got a base to get all set up with your third base now on the way. So Drunkenboi, I mean, that's really nice. He denied detection, so this drop, I believe, I still think it was scouted because another observer came really quickly, but possible that it wasn't. And then he just got a Warp Prism to not have to worry about keeping units at home. So since everything across the map, I don't know about attacking into this army, however. He doesn't have combat shields, and Guardian Shield does pop.
Stim's nice, but not against these beefier units. I mean, you can actually take on Stalkers and Adepts fairly well, but the Guardian Shield combined with the Immortals a little too much power, so he picks up to fly away. Now, he may be able to head back towards the natural and the main and maybe catch Neeb off guard, but there's going to be overcharges in one location, an army in another. It's going to be really difficult to actually just get freebies here.
Yeah. I mean, the War Prism going down is like such a... like not a worry anymore for Drunkenboi, but it's also not the end of the game. Like, he still has to worry about a very powerful, like, mid-late game Neeb, basically, like Protoss in general, but also Neeb, right? And that's still something to certainly be worried about. So he's trying to catch him off guard with this attacking to the right side, but also a drop off to the left. He's going to be drop heavy earlier on as he gets his third set up, and then maybe you'll see Liberators a while later, although that's actually questionable. Some Terrans are really pushing them off.
That sick observer placement sees those medevacs coming in. Stalkers are going to give chase to the south. They head back towards the main. There's going to be an overcharge.
Yeah, there's overcharges.
We still have these poised in position, but I just want to point out there is combat shields. There's +1. Like, there's actual damage here and good potential. But the medevac goes down with a lot of units inside of it. That sucks for Drunkenboi.
Yeah, I think initially just, it wasn't focus fire, but then it was as a second medevac almost got away. That's really nice by Neeb. Yeah, he's not using anything from the factory, just completely skipping Widow Mines.
Well, that and tanks. I mean, we've seen tanks come back in the matchup quite a bit. He's going heavy on the bio. We got double Liberators coming out. Not a lot of medevacs, though, especially considering he just lost 2 in the main. Only 2 come back home. And we may see that problem present in a lot of the matchups right now, where you're stimming and killing yourself because there's nothing to heal it.
I did wonder if he was going to, like, what timing of a Terran is he for those Liberators, basically? There's a type that go for super early Liberators. There's a type that, like, really push it off and go for a bunch of either harassment, like we saw him try to do, or, like, just frontal pushes, which you didn't see him try and do. And by going so quickly into them like he is, we have to bring up the lack of medevac. So once again, a nice snipe on the Warp Prism, which he saw with that drop. He knew it was, like, on the way. Just, very nice to actually see it and be able to kill it. But, the Liberator counts, it might be scary. It might grow up to like 6 or 8 or hell even 10. But without those medevacs, we've seen the army just, die anyway, and the Liberator's taken care of after.
Well, this factory, one of the frustrating things about it going down is questioning whether Drunkenboi has the armor. Okay, he does, but what about the second starport? Like, build that, or you'll have to build the factory all over again.
Yeah. Oh god, that's a really good point. This is not something I've seen since, like, the Liberty, forgetting, or not even forgetting about building a second starport, but just, simply having the factory out scouting in general, because Widow Mines were so good. But actually taking the engagement, of course, Drunkenboi really wants to, Neeb really wants to, rather. Drunkenboi did not anticipate the rest of the army backing up those Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, the Liberties get picked off for pretty much free, and this goes really shitty really quickly. I don't have a better way to phrase that. Like, that just went as bad as it possibly could for Drunkenboi.
If you wanted to take that fight, you have to stim again. Yeah, that would have been pretty bad with only 2 medevacs. And I don't know what it is. Like, Terrans, I've actually, like, I used to be totally on board, like, the fast Liberator thing. Because Liberators are really sometimes very difficult to deal with as a Protoss player. Especially if they just simply do not react to it well. Like, some players are bad against Liberators. But it seems like Protoss have gotten a much better handle on it. And not simply by just going to Tempest or Colossus, right? They're just getting better at finding the army in the middle of the map. Okay, he is going for Tempest, but still, like, finding the army in the middle of the map, taking concaves, like, getting storms in there, although we don't see that here.
Do me a favor real quick. Hit 1, C, and then E. And then I gotta put my camera on you and I gotta be right back real quick.
Oh, to get the player.
Yeah, so camera's
You were
going on
instructing me.
Alright.
Okay. Well, here we go. You can see a fight going down. Disruptors were made. It's another note that I wanted to make and then kind of forgot. Talked about those Liberators. So that is going to replace the Storm that I mentioned. We've been seeing a lot of really good Storm engagements being taken in PvT, but Disruptors can also work if they can actually get the army, but they scare the army originally, and then the Adepts take on the rest of the army. All the Liberators are ones that end, again, down. And Drunkenboi is in trouble. He is down 20 army supply, and he's also down in upgrades, at least by 1, with Neeb's 3-3 already on the way. Once again, these Disruptors not looking so hot, but they are forcing splits and a little bit of just, you know, miss micro here and there. And the amount of just gateway units, especially with the depths warping in, seems like it's going to be enough for Neeb to clean up this Terran army. Now, the medevac count did get high again, so he picks up in it and tries to survive a little bit longer, but when there's medevacs, there's no Liberators, and it seems like at this point you would really need both, as well as, I mean, maybe even just ghosts, but most importantly, a bigger army. Oh, that was a really nice stupid hit. That was like 5 Marauders. And this is definitely game. So Drunkenboi, not a totally convincing first game, despite what was really nice Warp Prism pickoffs. Like, unless you're Terran, I guess you... Well, actually, no, even if you're not Terran, any race can have such trouble with Warp Prisms. Even Protoss, you know, in PvP. Once you get rid of that Warp Prism, it is suddenly like a world of relief, as you don't have to leave, you know, half your army back at home, and you don't have to build Vikings and missile turrets. That really, like, should have been quite a big boon, but just unable to still catch up, you know, mid-game and late-game-wise.
Hey, I'm back with that.
No.
So, Neeb won. Okay, cool. I'm really pissed right now, actually. So, I saw the mailman coming, because I'm expecting a package that I need to get before we go to Texas, and even though I went to the front door, he just hung up the fucking come pick it up tomorrow sign and, like, walked away as I'm opening the front door.
Did you, like, chase him down the street?
Well, I tried, but he's got, like, headphones in, so he didn't hear me yelling at him, and I didn't want to, like, chase him in my fucking underwear into the street, so... Oh. What's frustrating is I apparently have to pay $43 and for whatever this package is, and then on top of this, I can't even get it today. I have to like wait till tomorrow.
Oh, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah, it is very stupid. But all right, my personal problems and frustrations aside, Drunkenboi losing that first game kind of sucks, but he's got another map to bring it back on. It's gonna be Dusk Towers for game number 2. And I wasn't sure if that one CE trick was going to work, but it's what I do to correct my vision, and it made it so yours wasn't all angled for once, which was cool.
Yeah, going to the player, it makes sense. Ready?
Yep, whenever they are. Okay, we'll see you guys here in just a moment as we get to Dust Towers for Game 2 in this third best of 5 today. I'm starting to see why Neeb decided to keep the on fire tag part of his TING tag, because he is literally on fire today. No, but in all seriousness, he's pretty much playing to what I think expectations were. I don't think there's anyone here who didn't expect him to do well today, but he did 2 3-1s already. We'll see if this series goes in that same manner, or if it's maybe going to be 3-0. Either way, that first game looked a little bit shaky out of Drunkenboi. More comments on that in a moment as we get into the intros. For in the top right, we have Ting's Blue Protoss Neeb.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, it is Drunkenboi.
So, yeah, that first game didn't look so hot for Drunkenboi, and there's a lot of things to be said about that, but that was something where I think a couple of mistakes here and there for him really cost him what was looking like a good build.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got that Warp Prism picked off really early from Neeb, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the change of things. We'll see that upset coming, but just a bit of a mismanagement following that really unfortunately threw that out the window. Now, as far as players go, because some people are like, you know, oh, this is like just NA trash, and some people wish we had picked Koreans. Unfortunately, as much as I would have loved to include it, say, a lot of higher tier players or not to play versus Neeb, I just want to put everyone's doubt to mind. Like, I didn't pick players for this that I thought, oh yeah, Neeb's gonna win for sure. Like, there's none of that going on. I thought that all the players we picked today were pretty good. I would have loved to have had Masa over Drunkenboi is my only exception, but he never got back to me. And I did want a Terran of some variety. We had reached out to Semper as well, who's been doing really well, but he's got school and stuff he's focusing on. So due to time zones and I guess everybody's schedule, and this being a Tuesday, you know, not exactly a weekend, not everyone was available, sad to say. So we did pick the best of what we could. Like, and I really don't feel like there is any disappointing player picked for today. It just, if anything, it should just be showcasing how good. Like, Scarlett and Huck both said it on an interview. I'm hoping to get Bales in afterwards, but like everybody pretty much knows that Neeb is one of the best players right now. This is kind of like the Hitman legacy a little bit, where it's like, okay, we didn't really see a lot of Neeb at offline events or anything like that, but he's always been like a powerhouse on the ladder.
Hitman the player. I thought maybe you were gonna go into like the story of the Hitman video game.
No, yeah. Neeb's bald in real life, looks a little bit like Haldor.
Like, this is curious. How is he gonna relate that to that? Anyways, I agree. Like, I was gonna say, even if he does end up 3-1ing everyone, because apparently that's a thing he does, it just would showcase, I feel like, okay, he's obviously the best player in NA, and that's like really cool. It's been a while since we've had such a breakout player, like such a player that just dominates his scene.
Yeah. And
does need to think about, like, you know, facing maybe the Koreans one day, but.
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to something I mentioned with Huck, where like Neeb is the only foreigner to actually win an Alima League. Like, the furthest before that was like what even Nathanius got further than Snoot ever did.
I always put that as an asterisk, though.
I don't, because well, I don't remember all the players who play in it. The fact of it is, when people say like playing against Koreans, there's two big distinctions there, right? There's generally Koreans, which I think the Alima League covers, and then there's like the top tier of players like Zest and whatnot.
So I don't really want to like hit home on this point too hard, because, you know, I don't want to take away from Neeb. He's been on the up and up for a very long time, but that was the Alima League where there was actually a lot more foreigners, and it was also when Protoss was doing pretty well. So that's why, like, I was excited when he won, like finally a foreigner actually winning, but it was in beta, and unfortunately he never came back to like solidify his position, which would be cool if he came back and did that. Like, I don't know, back, you know, in June when the Alima League comes back. Come on, Neeb.
Well, the Adept's going to find a full wall off waiting for them, so Drunkenboi's not going to have to worry about too much for the time being. He didn't go for 3 barracks this time, went for something a little bit more regular, but yet still irregular. There's this tank marine push that's becoming really popular. Botvinnik, an upcoming player in Europe, really showcasing just how good this can be versus even the best top-tier Protoss. But a version of this with a Liberator is very interesting to me, instead of the Medevac.
Yeah. Well, I guess the tank count... It starts early. If it's not with the medevac, then it's not going to do any pressure, but it is going to be defensive, like really nice defensive point. If they go for any blink soccer attacks or just any attacks in general, it can be very worthwhile. But it's also going to get that tank count started. So it's only 1 now, but then in like 5 minutes it's going to be 4 in the front of your base, and you're going to maybe have some trouble with it. But the Liberator staying at home is curious. I guess he figures it's going to be worthless since there is already a Phoenix out. Or he's going to attack with everything combined. It's a very small attack. I honestly didn't expect him to push with only 1 tank.
Well, what I find really interesting about this, I think 2 Oracles actually kills the attack. Like, forget the Phoenix for a sec. Even with the Liberator and the Marines shooting the Oracles, I feel like 2 Oracles worth of damage takes out a small amount of Marines, without combat shields, by the way. Yep. The tank will fall prey to that as well. It's going to go for a stasis trap, so this might even cut the units in half before it even begins.
I mean, I guess on one hand, I really like the stasis traps. On one hand, if you think that they're going to be pretty greedy because it's Dusk Towers and maybe they saw your third, which Neeb did not, but just in case, like, then doing a very oddly timed attack would catch them so off guard that I could see some Protosses just straight up losing their third base or losing their army and it being a snowball effect. Ooh. Oh god, it catches like all the Marines. But there's pylons here. There's an army here. There's nothing to deal with the Liberator per se, but that's where the Phoenix come in. There they are. And they can kind of just roam around a little bit. It is only 1 Liberator and only 4 Marines.
Yeah,
as the rest are trapped.
That Medevac's actually probably the most important unit here, actually, as it will be able to pick up the tanks as well. Unfortunately, though, with those Marines being trapped, they finally get freed. Let's see if they can deal with the Phoenix. The Liberator, again, not that big of an issue. It is primarily these tanks, and more importantly, the Medevac that can move those tanks around. Mm-hmm. He's just going to leave one and say, fuck it.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, he realizes this isn't going to work. And, I mean, this is a pretty
big giveaway.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad attack. Let's just say it. But Drunkenboi is going into a 3rd CC. What? If he can get that on location, I think he'll have, like, not an okay mid-game. He could go into the mid-game.
Jesse subbed for 2 months earlier, and now he just resubbed for 3. How does that work?
Is that how they're counting, like, the 3-month packages? Oh, bye, tank. Oh, this might just snowball. Oh, this might just be game.
I kind of think it is. I don't think you can hold the ramp. He does have a lot of barracks and an awful lot of Marines coming up, but these are Marines without really any upgrades into them. No stim, no combat shields, no +1. Also close to coming out, but these Adepts should be able to capitalize on the situation. The Phoenix should be able to easily chase down the medevac. So Neeb getting a little bit savage here in game number 2.
Well, I mean, yeah. Drunkenboi, though, just being a little too...
Cavalier?
Yeah, okay, that's a good word to put it. Like, if anything, like, if we're gonna catch let's say that Drunkenboi thinks Neeb's a better player. Okay, you do weird things and maybe you get like an early lead or win even. So it's not surprising to see him do something like that. But on the other hand, like, Neeb has just proven like you know, he dealt with Scarlet's all-ins really easily, and he's like with Drunkenboi's attacks really easily. I don't know what you do in game number 3.
Apparently, you just don't attack you don't attack Neeb. Let him attack you and try and defend. I guess I don't know. But all right, that's gonna send us to a small break, guys, as we get to game number 3. Could be the last one. We'll find out soon. Either way, we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. So chat paying a little bit closer attention to the resources lost than us. They bring up the fact that was a nearly flawless game. 3 or so Adepts died at the very end, and that was noteworthy. But up to that point, I didn't realize Neeb had actually lost nothing. That's crazy.
Pretty good kid. I don't know. I'll tell ya.
Well, he is up 2-0 currently. This is where he tends to lose one, right? Bottom left side. Ruins of Endion. It's going to be TING's newest and only player, Neeb.
In the bottom right, as the Red Terran, it is Drunkenboi.
I do love, by the way, this whole bracket that we've got to get. I know we keep talking about the caliber players and whatever, but this really is actually like the path you would normally see a player take, probably from like the round of 32 to the round of 16 to the round of 8, like through a normal tournament bracket for qualifier like DreamHack or IEM or otherwise.
I thought you were going to say something like this is the normal path they would take on their rise to NA greatness, but I guess same thing.
I would same difference.
Yeah, but it's quite impressive. Like, okay, sure, there could have been more games, basically. These all could have been 3-2s, you know, game number 5, and that would have been an awesome King of the Hill, and it would have been fine. But also, they said last game to concrete his position as one of the, or if not the best North American player is also still pretty cool to see, and we'll see if he continues that versus Bales, because I think he might lose this just if we're going along, you know, pattern. He's going to do something a little sillier, just be a little too, you know, confident, and he's going to mess up somewhere. But Bales is the only guy left to really break the Neeb spell, maybe.
It's funny to phrase like that, but I actually do feel like in all the matchups and all the possibilities of the way we watch Neeb play, Protoss would be the one that is the most build ordery that you could possibly win. What is Drunkenboi doing? He did that on purpose? Okay, so he throws a grenade. He's trying to knock down these rocks, which is really weird to see someone work at early.
Well, yeah. If he had, like, excess Marines and he wasn't worried about them being attacked, but a Reaper?
Right, and the Reaper, more importantly, is throwing grenades at it. So, like, he's actively trying to knock this down. So that's a little bit of damage. So if he's doing some sort of weird attack where he walks through the south and tries to catch Neeb off guard, that's really cool. But at the same time, like every hallucination or warp prism or phoenix, they fly across this point. They'll see it coming.
Yeah, an observer always goes over there in case you're going to drop them. So I can't see this being too much of a surprise. And there's no deterrent, you know, for Neeb if he sees this being broken down. He's not going to see this being broken down and be like, oh god, now I can't take a third base.
Yeah.
He's going to take the other, like, the usual third base. I'll still have to be fine.
He has no idea this is coming, by the way, but a pylon goes down here nonetheless. Like, what is he building down here?
He might have a Stargate. Oh, no, he's a Stargate already.
Does this accidentally end up working for Drunkenboi because it's where the Dark Shrine goes or something like that? I mean, what the heck? All right, so looks like the SCV in the middle of the map died. Scans the main to see what's going on. Sees nothing really, unfortunately. That Oracle is going to find, no, not enough Marines to defend. You
know, it'd be really useful to see that Stargate.
You know, I'm thinking, like, that was not what I was going with.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say though, like that Reaper, that would have been the only thing you could possibly see.
This is so sick!
With an overcharge.
This is so sick, but he's not gonna scout it!
Look at it, it's taken years for those fucking rocks, and he's not even gonna try anymore.
Just go through the south to scout, man! Like, goddamn it, Drunkenboi.
I don't understand what Drunkenboi's doing either. This is very curious, but he's gonna have to deal with Tempest soon, and oh, Jesus.
I like this selection, though. Like, if we're gonna be honest here for a second, get off the silly train for just 1 second. I love that first off, he puts this in a spot that's really unconventional to scout. But secondly, Tempests on this map have so many different areas they can really abuse the range with, primarily here in the middle more than anywhere else, but I could certainly see it happening down here. It's kind of funny, what's his name? Shoot, why am I having a hard time with it? Beastie. Beastie QD actually did a sort of how to beat Tempest proxies recently on a stream. Yeah. That was really cool to watch. We hosted him, so it worked out with a lot of BaseTradeTV fans. Hopefully know what I'm talking about. But one of the aspects here is not like focusing on defending, but you really want to focus on attacking and getting around the Tempest and, like, you know, dropping Marines in Neeb's base, getting Widow Mines to the front lines. But unfortunately, with the weird, strange way Drunkenboi's playing, like, I don't know that that's an option.
So I was gonna say that maybe Drunkenboi does want to do an attack through the middle, and that has always been his plan. But if he's had to deal with this before, this also might be just opening up more of a pathway to chase down the Tempest if it was. But like to automatically call Tempest would be very, very interesting of Drunkenboi.
I want to emphasize, like, he did not scout down here at all. He has no idea that this is the case. So as he goes across the map with the revelation on him, Neeb's not going to be going out to push. Defending with this should be fine.
Well.
This is just, I love how weird this is. This leaves us in awe because I would love to know what his thought process was
like,
with this rock set being knocked down.
Yeah, definitely that. But it's also is it really that weird? You know, we call Ruins of Enya the Sideways Arena enough times already, and Arena had the Tempest thing, so
I would say the choice to
prioritize
that instead of scouting with a Reaper is definitely weird. On the high ground might get one of these Tempests, pushes away, and I guess this is where these the rocks being torn down works out, because he can't actually walk behind and cut this off between reinforcements. So maybe he knew this was coming. Maybe this is Drunkenboi's super sick, ultra secret way to deal with it. I don't know, but it'll work because these other Tempests can't really rally forward.
I'm really trying to give Drunkenboi, like, you know, the benefit of the doubt for those rocks being broken down, and we can see that they were almost a little bit effective, almost, but you know, still has that perfect little spot where they could hide, and this is still going to be very annoying for Neeb to deal with, or for Drunkenboi to deal with, as he does not have a lot of Vikings. He doesn't have a ton of pressure. He's gonna apparently take out the Fleet Beacon, which is annoying.
Yeah, the overcharge doesn't reach, so that's gonna stop further Tempest production. I mean, Marines are really good versus Tempest. They rarely get the opportunity to be underneath them.
Yeah. So the medevac gets targeted down really nicely, and even a revelation goes off, so these Marines are eventually going to die. Question is, do they buy enough time for Drunkenboi to get a decent enough production himself, whether that is of Marines to try and swim underneath, or of Vikings?
Nice.
Okay. One goes down, but
I guess while we're focusing a lot on this, it's worth noting, like, Neeb is not super all in with this, right? Okay, what was that? You know, he took a third, he's got a robo, he's got future tech coming, he's got a lot of adepts coming to that front line. Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, there's two responses. I mean, there's mass Marines and Vikings, or either or, and
it's a good idea to knock down these rocks, but, like, is it too late?
It's too late. Yeah, it's too late. And because he was making Vikings, there actually aren't any medevacs anymore. They've all been sniped.
He did bulk up a decent amount of them. There really isn't that many Tempests. Like, picking up that Fleet Beacon was, I'd say, a really big deal. Not just like a nice pickup, but like a really big deal.
Yeah. Well, what's more interesting is that he didn't bother to replace it. So, like, he could have continued his Tempest production, probably, but he has chosen to go into ground. Now, Drunkenboi is still being very careful with how he takes his engagement, even though I think his Viking count is good enough. Yeah, there you go.
No stalkers on the ground to help. The Marines chip away at that one Tempest. Only 2 remain. This isn't bad. The Adepts do transfer up to the 3rd, so that's where the Marines are going to go. Lifts up the command center. A couple of SCVs are going to bleed out, sadly. Oh, that move command was awkward. I don't know what
that was. Very awkward. And he still doesn't feel comfortable going up against the Adepts, even if he does have combat shields and stim. He has no medevacs. And I don't know if he's noticed that Neeb doesn't have Resonating Glaives or +1 yet, but that's only halfway done.
So he takes care of the Tempest, and he does it in a very clean fashion. 3rd base lived. Losing some SCVs sucks, sure, but that's where mules come in. Neeb is on his own 3rd, and the question is, did Drunkenboi scout this at any point? Because he's been so focused at home, and no. He has no idea about his opponent's 3rd, so he may think, like, Neeb went all in with this. Sweet, I'm ahead. But no, you're not, and that's where it gets worrisome.
That's what Terrans used to think, okay? Back in the day. And then they realize that no matter how well they defend and all in, there's still a 3rd base. Now, that's complete Terran bias talking.
Always a 3rd base.
Yeah, that is complete Terran bias, but like legitimately, there are a lot of situations that a Terran can misread and think that it's over. It's really a 2-base all-in when it's not. I'm not sure if this is going to be that game because you know you didn't see the very instant follow-up of Adepts, you know, and it didn't. I don't think it felt like an all-in for Drunkenboi. So hopefully he's not just gonna fly over this 3rd base because he really doesn't think it's there. Hopefully we'll go ahead and land and kill a couple of probes at the very least. Actually, just unloads right then and there. He's gonna bring on the rocks with him?
That's what I thought maybe he'd do and then try and storm on up, but that's not the case so far. Focus kind of goes to this a little bit weird, though, because he is on a lot of Marines, and we're kind of getting past that point where you can just play with Marines. Like, it's everyone and their mom has done the Terran joke, like, oh, Marines, they got no counter, blah, 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 but, like, there's an actual problem now where the Adepts are so good against Marines, you're going to have a little bit of support behind them. I like the idea of Ghosts, but, I mean, where's the Marauders?
Well, they're on their way now. Using up some of those tech labs finally, but yeah, they're not here. Just a single Tempest, you know, poke at medevacs, I suppose. Finally, those 2 medevac drops come in, I guess, as he sees the army is entirely out of position. There's a cannon, but no mothership core here, so a lot of probes should go down. Oh, wow. There's an instant warp in, or whatever.
Yeah, he takes out a lot of the Adepts before they actually manage to warp in. That's where that +1 weapons is really helping him out. The warp in also gets some Adepts over here. The Marines all stim for it, though, and there's not really a lot to heal them, so that's dangerous. But they clear this up. They take out the probes. He pushes off this 3rd. Neeb does trade out a couple of workers on the other side of the field to make this a little more worthwhile, but this was a pretty good attack of the Drunkenboi.
Yeah, pretty good. Still, I guess, a little bit worried for his main composition here, but you know what? He's come up on he's been up on Neeb's upgrades, like evened with Neeb's upgrades, so it's actually not so bad. Usually, I guess I'm used to now seeing Protoss as the double forge.
Oh, he's got the girl ghosts.
Oh, there we go, double forge. Oh, yes, he does. They look weird.
They look like, I hate, this sounds silly, like they look like stick figures compared to the regular.
They do. They look way too skinny. That's really weird.
Like the frame just feels like it's too small too. Like it's not just like the ghost is like a skinny hot girl. Like it's just the frame.
It looks like her legs are like 6 feet tall and everything else isn't. Anyway.
Yeah.
The EMPs go down. The EMP went down and actually really blanketed Neeb's army, and that was very effective.
Wow, okay, so the army actually ends up standing its ground just barely, but for Drunkenboi, that's still not a lot of army to push through with. Snipe tries to go off on an Adept. That was kind of cute. We did the Warp Prism coming back up here, but he was ready for it to take... With that being gone, no chance of counter-aggression. Marine's going to hold the spot. He was going to kill what little probes there are left on this side, but for Drunkenboi, this looks like a great game for him now. There's only a couple of disruptors being made, and okay, maybe if he messes up the control, he loses his whole army to a disruptor, but at the same time, if he doesn't mess up his control, the disruptors are going to be an absolute waste, and they're what Neeb is banking on. Like, this is his, like, kind of Hail Mary pass in a way.
Neeb just wasn't, I think, anticipating the stim in there, or certainly wasn't anticipating the EMPs going down as well as they did. Otherwise, I think there would have been like photon overcharges. He would have just backed off and waited for those disruptors, realizing that he needed splash. But he definitely made a mistake taking that engagement, or being forced to take that engagement. And I'm not sure he's in a winning position, unless the disruptors can get those really good hits. That's absolutely right. But is usually hoping for a lot. Terran have gotten pretty good at reacting against these.
Well, as he continues to dance in the middle of the map, I guess it's worth noting, Drunkenboi, well, he does have the superior army supply. His upgrades are kind of matched evenly. EMPs are good, of course, but those disruptors just have so much killing potential that it's enough to scare away somebody who's got even double the army supply.
They got most of the sentries once again, so no force fields, and more importantly, I think there's only like one guardian shield, maybe not even then. No observer over here to see the big pickup, so Neeb's going to be completely surprised. His motion core is available, but he didn't actually overcharge that quickly, so none of the medevacs going down, and of course the pylons get wrecked. Yeah,
just focus fires them pretty immediately. It's also going to stall upgrades of the forge, which will be nice. Cancels the armor upgrades. That was +3 that just got started. But while this goes on, he does push on the south side. He's got another army coming in. That disruptor can't possibly get the hits to kill this army. In fact, it will get a large portion of it. But drops in the main are pulled back, and Neeb's starting to hold on to this location.
Oh, okay. I thought he cleaned up the main base, but they were just in those medevacs. Still, I mean, this might end up being
a lot of units in the medevacs, though. He's got to get them out.
If only he had something to kill the medevacs, like feedbacks right here could be glorious, or even storms. Like, they were like really bulked up. But the Bling Stalkers are still too much on the ground for them to take out those medevacs. The medevac count is really just getting kind of insane. Oh, please.
It's almost, I would argue, too many medevacs. Like, if floats his army to be bigger than it is, he might also not realize just how much. I mean, he's starting to get liberators now. Like, I think it's becoming more and more apparent to him as he can't just push to win that there's just barely not enough here. Going to focus down on top of the disruptors, but he's not doing it fast enough, so they're actually getting these hits and chunks just being blown away from the army.
Another EMP goes down on those force fields again, so he just enough force fields to allow himself to back off, and that's actually a pretty good engagement for Neeb. He's also got his 4th base back up, and that's impressive for someone who looked like he was just about to die.
Yeah.
Because he was 30 army supply under without much splash. He's lasted quite a long time. Now the upgrades are starting to get worrying for Neeb, as he did lose that +3, and Drunkenboi's about to finish his 3-3. But he's got some momentum and he's using it. Like, I think a lesser Protoss just would have backed off immediately, but he is trying to pressure this 4th base.
I think it's hilarious this Tempest from earlier is still alive. Like, this is the longest surviving veteran of, like, all the wars.
Yeah. And he could use that to pick off these Liberators. Now, I really like how he's staying just around here.
He just burned a lot of the Disruptors. He's got to know this, too, as he starts pushing in. But the problem is, which Disruptor do you focus on? Dances through this first one. They're all on cooldown right now, but not enough of an army to push through.
Yeah. He's just constantly aware that Disruptors could ruin his Marauder count and ruin his day.
He's got units elsewhere on the map, too. Like, there we go. Drop's going to head towards this base. 4 Marauders can take out cannons pretty quickly. He's got a base set up to the north. Oh, he tries to do the pickup trick. It doesn't quite work for him, though. I like the counterattack damage potential he's going for, but I would love to see him just give up this base and saturate this one instead.
Agreed. He doesn't actually have to fight here. That's a good point. The Marauders could probably be taken care of with a couple of warp-ins. You know, they can take down buildings, but they have slow attack.
Neeb was behind a considerable army supply going into this. He is kind of caught up now. Drunkenboi's got the better upgrades. I guess that part never got repaired. Like, we never saw the Forge come back. This base is slowly but surely going to go down.
Yeah, Neeb, he lost all of his probes to the Marauders, which is not what I was expecting, and they just pulled them away. The Command Center is going to go down, and the army picks up on a medevac. Oh, that's a very interesting decision. Oh.
Go for a base trade. This is... Actually, you know, the mobility of Disruptors is low. Trying to get back home with these is going to be tough. Neeb can probably push through and kill what little there is here, but there's not that much to kill, considering this is the only base that's going to matter in a few minutes.
That was a pretty good split for him, though. Just most importantly about the Disruptor splits. Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, he doesn't use one of the Disruptors that was rallying forward. He's not actually using the Disruptors here either. There we go. It's the tail end of it, but that's... I feel like Neeb might have this.
I know, I can't believe he's turned this around. This looked like it was going to be Drunkenboi's game for a while. I just want to point out, by the way, the Disruptor Purification Nova does move faster than a stimmed unit, so all this constant running away from Drunkenboi is not accomplishing a whole hell of a lot for him. I thought these SCVs like would be at least repairing or something, build a bunker, I don't know. But Drunkenboi's got no money. Like, you take this base up here, he's floating around now, but he still has no money behind this. So every unit he bleeds out, he can't really afford to replace. I say really, he can't afford to replace. He has 0 income right now.
This Tempest is also a big problem for this attacking fort. There's only 1 Marine left.
So he kills a lot of production, leaves the robot at 9 health. There we go, figures this off. Just kind of stuttering around. I guess as he bleeds out Marauders, he can eventually pick up the medevacs and walk away. Picks off the Disruptor. I mean, he's doing more damage now with a small amount of units than he did with his entire big army. I just want to point that out there. But as he falls back, all these mules should be going into this base. A lot of command centers with a lot of energy. He's so focused on winning the game with this, though, that he's really let his macro just almost, I'd say, give up on the macro. He gave up on the macro while this was going on.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Didn't need to.
There's actually nothing being produced right now. There we go. Family Neeb is reproducing probes. Actually, he's at 22, but he has 4 Nexus worth of production here, a little bit of a bank, and his 3rd base still has a few minerals. His natural even has a few minerals. So Neeb should be back up to mining. And should be winning this game. Like, yeah, this Tempest doesn't really have a counter anymore. How many Marines are on the field? There's 2 Marines. Like 2. That's it. That's literally it.
Okay, well, the annoying Tempest aside, this starts getting back down to money again for both players. Drunkenboi's actually got so much gas. All he really does have to do is focus on mining minerals. And with the command center being up here, you can actually flip this one up north and take 2 bases right now if you'd like. Is the
Barracks in the natural bugged for you too? It shows a ghost is producing.
Yes, actually I see that now too. That is odd.
That's weird.
I wonder if that happened during a supply block and he canceled it or something strange maybe, but we do have a fair amount of Marauders segmented off to the side, looking like he wants to go back towards the main. Recognizing just how much he did with so few units. I mean, Neeb is on mining, yes, but if Neeb's mining a lot of money and has nothing to produce with, then that's even better for Drunkenboi. So much of the emphasis here going to go on picking off these important and hard to replace tech structures like the Robo Bay. Burns that stim. Tempest comes into play. God, go away.
What is he going to do about this Tempest? He built Oh, I thought he was building a
The,
ghost.
the Tempest is like that really annoying thing that chases you in horror games, like Slenderman style, so
Oh,
you just
Blink,
can't
Blink.
get away.
Oh, jeez.
That's gonna
Finally,
hurt.
Blink was on
That's gonna
cooldown,
hurt.
available for those medevac pickups.
All right, well, we got a drop coming here to the fourth base. I mean, Drunkenboi, I gotta give him credit. He's making use of these very small openings that Neeb is presenting, but the openings are small and barely there. He's gonna try and focus on the Nexus, just kind of abandon ship with this. I think he could have got it. I think sacking the Marauders at this point would have been worth it. Maybe he doesn't realize Neeb is in such a dire mineral game just like he is, but
Maybe. It would have taken a while for him to replace it, that's for sure. But there were still mineral patches at his natural in third.
He doesn't have defense up here to the north. It's gonna be awkward. I think this is where Neeb finally wins. His army supply is quite big, and as cool as this has been up to this point, there's no more income, no more money, no money.
Yeah. Neeb has done it. I thought this was going to be like everything else, a 3-1, but
So this game, by the way, did start off with a bit of a trolley build coming out of Neeb. Not entirely, because I actually think that Tempest is a good choice for this map, but this game is a lot more representative of what we saw the whole series of with Drunkenboi and Neeb last time. Is he gonna get it? No, there's no way. None of the
Go, go.
But this is what I expected all three games to be like. So it's a little disappointing the first two didn't quite hit this note, but this was a good game out of Neeb to have this recovery come in again. Get the Nexus. There you go. Personal victory.
It's nice to see Neeb not just steamroll too. You know, like a lot of these games have just been him deflecting an all-in or an attack, and just like easily kind of winning afterwards. So see him finally a little bit on the ropes and still pull it out. Impressive.
All right, so congratulations to Neeb, who will take a 3-0. And I guess it's a good thing he said he wanted to play at the start of the day so he could get all the extra money, because he does have now what is like $450 in his pocket. Something, I'm guessing at math here, but he's got a lot of money, and his last opponent today is going to be versus Bales. Now, Bales is ready to play. We're going to go to a small break, nothing too large. When we come back, we'll do an interview with Bales. Said he's willing to talk, which is awesome. Then we'll get into the series of him versus Neeb for that final best of 5. So thank you guys for watching so far. Make sure to hit the follow button on the channel if you haven't already. And check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV, for any VODs of games that you missed today. But we'll see you guys in a few.